Hello out there, and I've got a quick look today at a very cool knife because in front of you is the Hinderer XM-18 3-inch version with a Wharncliffe blade. And this is a knife that is certainly not mine. It is on loan from my buddy George. George has just been a great guy and a great contributor to this channel in that he has sent me a few knives to borrow, a few knives to keep. This is the second Hinderer that he's actually sent me, and he does this while he is overseas serving our country, and basically sends me the knives because he's not going to be needing them while he's out of the country, and it's just a very, very cool kindness of him for me to have the opportunity to check these knives out while he serves our country. So George, thank you for the loaner. Thank you for your service. And today, let's just get into what this knife is all about. This is not going to be a full review, but I am just going to go through some of the things about the knife that strike me as very cool and some of the other features and the real customization capability of these knives, because what you're looking at, while some of it is stock, a lot of this is aftermarket. And so I'm sure those of you out there who have a Hinderer, who know about Hinderer knives already, know just how easy it is and how much there is available to customize these blades and make them your own. And this one certainly does have that appeal, because while we're looking at the knife and we see the Jade G10 handle scale, which is stock, just about everything else that you're looking at apart from the blade is aftermarket. From my understanding, the hardware here was originally silver, and so now it is all blacked out. The clip was originally silver as well, and so was the filler tab. And so all of this stuff was done aftermarket, and you can see right here as well, there is like this blue anodized liner that's part of the frame, and that is aftermarket as well. And so there are a ton of places where you get this kind of work done. And so you do have to make a pretty big initial investment to get the knife itself, and then invest a good deal more money in order to customize it. But there's really no end to what you can do with these knives, which makes it pretty cool. Because while there are a ton of them out there, there are only a few that look exactly like yours, potentially. So very cool there. What I will say about the blade is that I love a good Wharncliffe. The blade here of S35VN is really attractive, really nicely done. Fit and finish on it is excellent, just really nicely ground. Impressed with the blade. What I will say is, if you remember the other Hinderer knife that I got from George, I do prefer that blade shape just a little bit more. The edge was somewhat reasonably, straight. It didn't have a huge belly or anything, but I just preferred the way that the knife looked at the tip. This one, while I do like the look of it, it is not what I would prefer, especially if I'm spending that amount of money. Maybe I would want something a little bit more traditional looking, but for use in EDC, obviously the Wharncliffe would be excellent. Other things that just really strike me about the knife are the jimping and the way that it feels in hand. Multiple grip configurations that are both really, really comfortable. So certainly impressed with that. And one of the things when I first heard of Hinderers, people were really excited and hyped up about these knives, and I didn't know that they even made them in this size. And I guess I just never looked into it, never paid much attention to them. I thought they were all larger knives, like the Hinderer ZTs. And so, I never really had any interest in picking one up. But now that I've held two that are both 3 inches in blade length, man, it's definitely something that I would love to have in my collection, just a knife of this quality. It feels super light in the hand. The fit and finish just all the way back is on point. There's no sharpness at all. The G10, let me see if I can get the texturing pattern of the G10 in focus. It's going to be a little bit tough because of that jade color. But yeah, that pattern is just really attractive and extremely grippy. And just all of the detail in that pattern makes it so, you get excellent traction, but it's not sharp at all. So just a perfect blend of look and usability in this G10 scale. Like some of the best looking and feeling G10 that I've ever held. So very cool there. And then going to the other side, the clip leaves a little bit of real estate, but I don't mind it. This clip, sort of been standard in a lot of Kershaw designs as well, and it just never is an issue for me. So I've always just been able to carry that just fine, like on the dividend. Lockup on this knife is nothing short of excellent. Then when we look at the rest of the knife, opening and closing is sort of just an interesting talking point. And, one of the things that you'll see here are these like Teflon washers. And I believe from what I've heard that is like a Hinderer preference, that Rick Hinderer prefers using that kind of washer. And that's, a little bit odd to me because, certainly in the market and the way consumers as a whole feel is that, we, for the most part, prefer bronze washers or bearings. And it certainly helps the knife flip a little bit better when you have those. But in this knife, I don't know, it really doesn't seem to be affected that much. It was a little bit tough to flip when I first got it, and I did loosen the pivot just a little bit. Didn't lose any amount of lockup, but the knife flips a whole lot better now. And I do like that you have thumb stud opening capabilities as well. So really smooth there. The knife doesn't free drop closed, but it's smooth. And bronze phosphor washers are certainly one of those aftermarket additions that a lot of people do make when it comes to knives like this. So, what you're looking at if you pick this knife up and do a whole lot of aftermarket additions is a knife that's in the $500 range almost. I think about $350, $375 maybe for the knife itself, depending on what variations you get in design. And then all of the other stuff that you have to add, it all adds up, and you can end up spending $500 on a knife. It's a good knife. I don't know that I would ever spend $500 on it, and that's sort of why I don't have one. The one knife that I have spent something like that much on is the Benchmade Gold class, and I got that for a collectible reason. And while this knife will resell pretty well, I'm sure, and is pretty darn collectible, it's not exclusive. It's not any kind of limited edition. Again, you can customize it and make it your own, but then if you're trying to sell it, you have to find someone who wants it exactly the way that you did it. So again, the value here is all in what you want out of a knife, and making it your own and having that special piece. Personally, comparing it to my EDC for today, like the Spyderco Mantra, the difference in a few $100s, definitely I would prefer to have this knife just to use and carry. But, this is something definitely more special, and you feel that. And while it's not something that, I personally would spend the money on, it does have that different level of quality and just cool factor when it comes to having it in the hand. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, just really happy to be able to have this and test it out and get an idea of what these knives are all about. Like I said, I think the first Hinderer that I borrowed from George is the one that I would prefer. I really like the finish on that one too. That one was such a cool knife. But this one, a very, very beautiful piece as well, and certainly one that if you are in the market for doing something with the Hinderer, a good way to go with this JG10, and then the aftermarket mods on this are very attractive. So anyway, guys, any questions, comments, complaints, suggestions, let me know down below. Definitely would like to hear from you. But I do have a couple end of the year videos coming in just a few days, and a collection update as well. So stay tuned for all that. But I will talk with you soon. Have a good one and take care.